Hi everyone, welcome. It's Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Wednesday, May 10th, 2023, and actually it's skipping on into Thursday already, May 11th. This is show number 192 called Sky Ops New York and Industrial Surrealism. This is a very exciting show for many reasons. I've been wanting to highlight this YouTube channel for a very long time now, and called Industrial Surrealism. And a very kind viewer, actually, of my channel put it in a comment section somewhere some time ago that I should check this channel out. So thank you to you. You know who you are. I don't want to give you a mention or a credit in case you don't want to be. If you do, though, however, please feel free to put it in the comment section below. Now, some of you have let me know that you've been unsubbed many times, obviously not by me, but by YouTube. Sometimes also, I'm shadow banned. I have been since the very beginning. I've started this channel. So if you can't comment, if it's not showing up for some reason, if it's a, kind, considerate, respectful comment, of course, I'm going to leave it there. It's not me removing anything. It would be a function of YouTube's nonsensical censorship happening these days. Anyway, there is my contact email in the description box below. If your comment isn't posting and you'd like to let me know, I appreciate all kind comments. Feel free to send it there. All right, all of that being said, in the midst of really wanting to highlight Sean's YouTube channel Industrial Surrealism, I also at the same time got some really fascinating photos come into me from a reliable source out of New York. And you get a hint at where I'm going at if you look at these in the picture. These are things that usually you only see in the movies, and yet it was not a movie and was not a movie set when my person who wants to remain anonymous, the viewer, sent the photos in. So these are ospreys. I'm going to get into the model that they might be. There was some kind of military ops going on, hence the Sky Ops title in here. On top of that, if you look up in this region here, that's a cloak and craft, a rather large one, and I'm going to get into detail on that too. This is kind of a more artistic view with some nice colors with some of the enhancement function going on. All right, well, let's get into this, and I hope I had mentioned everything I wanted to at the beginning here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, okay, let's get into it. All right, here's just an alternate cover slide I was toying with. It zooms in on that craft I was just showing you. Also, just with a couple of notes where, I'm saying these are possible windows. When I zoom in and do my enhancements on these things, we get at more detail, and I can show you a little bit more about what that is. And then this was just a note, big cloaking ship, UF type above the Osprey V-22, like copter. It's actually not a helicopter. It's called a tilt rotor, but we'll get into that. It's not a helicopter nor a plane, actually. And then I see the straight lines, because when things are that straight, we're not dealing with natural clouds or even artificial clouds. There's structure in there. So anyway, we'll get into that more in a second. But in the meantime, let's look at Sean's site. And really, I recommend that you run, don't walk over there. Look at his volume of work. Here, I think I grabbed it. I don't know. At one point, there are 429 videos. He just started, I think, in 2005 to start this YouTube channel. And it says here, originally a place to show Hurricane Katrina evacuation videos, this channel now exposes the South cloaked craft in our skies globally. These videos were recorded in New Orleans, Louisiana, from 2005 onward. So what Sean has done, it makes it look like I'm just playing in the sandbox here. I wish I could have found this channel 4 years ago when I was told in a very weird way. Ironically, it was connected with the military or galactic things happening. But anyway, wish I knew about this when I started, because it really would have jump-started me and propelled me, kind of catapulted me further along the path. But obviously, if I were meant to have found it back then, I would have. And I've gone through, my own journey with this and documenting the skies every day since then. And it's interesting because the parallels are there, the way that Sean started out, and I really appreciate how advanced, he looked at this, and look at these beautiful renderings, and he really, we'll get into it, what he does. But I'm just highlighting a couple of excerpts from the channel, very interesting images, just to kind of get you, interested, whet your appetite to go check out more. Do look up, he's got so many different topics, covering, the kind of things that look like birds, but they're not birds. Obviously all of the trailing, chemical field trailing, and all the usuals, lightning, just, strange behaviors. But he really has some excellent footage. He has, I think, forgive me if I'm erring here, Sean, out there at Industrial Surrealism, but he's got a, graphic and art intensive background photography, and just does an amazing job with this, and just such an excellent eye to really, look at the patterns, look at the things that just give these things away. And again, I feel like I'm in my infancy here. I thought I was really catching great things like pipes and machine parts, and I am getting it more and more. But I'm so grateful to have come across this work on this YouTube site, because now it's really put a lot of things together for me. So thank you, infinite thanks, and gratitude and appreciation to you, Sean, over at Industrial Surrealism. I invite all of you to seriously hop over there now and just scroll through the list and see whatever the topics jump out to you, and just start watching. I recommend that, this I just grabbed, screenshots of, but he does a whole series on what is in our skies. This just happens to be part 4. You might want to start at part 1 and really get into this, and do give it good time to look through. I still have so many more videos I want to go through there. All right, so this just gives you a hint at what's over there. Also, hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. When I step away, I'm just clearing my voice. As always, it's really in the wee hours of the morning here for me, the only time I can get this kind of stuff done and get it out to you all to share. So this is just another example of one of his shows, is Who, What Is in Our Skies, Cloaked Cloud Craft Hidden in €20 Note. And so somebody that he knows showed that if you look here on the left is the original €20 bill. Look at in the background, there's an object, and I haven't paid attention. Of course, they make it look like they're just simply emulating the cathedral windows. But no, they're showing the craft that he points out, right? And he gets into a lot of things with these things. If you look over here, What Is in Our Skies, December 30th, 2011, craft, flying rods, skyfish, and chem webs. And this is very interesting, because I just only recently, in the past month or two, have been catching these flying rods. I think I caught one maybe many more months back, but I don't know what I was looking at. And then I caught a few more since then. And so if you look up here, it's original over here and original. And here he traces over and, notates things going on. So this is, again, just like a little tiny preview. I invite you to go over, check out his channel, check out all of his stuff. It's really amazing, excellent topics. Here's another example of how amazing, okay? Sean Gautreau, I hope I said that right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Look at this in the upper left. I often suspect triangular craft, and that there's multiples, that there's clusters. And look what he's done over on the right. It gives a little more detail of what he suspects is going on, and clusters of all these different craft types. And this makes total sense. This is what I have been seeing as well, but was, totally oblivious and unaware of what exactly, how things looked exactly. So look at these renderings, just fascinating. There's also another one where things pop off in an arc, and it's like tumbling little triangles. I've seen that time and time again as well. Here on the lower left is just a diagram of all the many types that he's identified, and I agree 100%. Yes, that's what I've been seeing up in the skies as well. So especially, this diamond or kite shape, I just had one of those on one of my community pages. So you know what, again, get over there, check it all out. Not only is the imagery amazing, spellbinding, but he also explains things in a really wonderful way. All right, so I can't say enough about it. Obviously, I have said a lot, but do go check out Industrial Surrealism. And again, very kind viewer on my channel who pointed this channel out to me, and shine some light on it for me to find. Thank you. And again, if you want credit, do leave me a note in the comment section below, or if it won't post, go ahead and email me. I would appreciate it. All right, so thanks again. We're going to move on. Now, here we go. We're going to come into some exciting territory, new territory for me. I had to go research this a bit and lean on a friend who's a little more well-versed in all things aircraft, military aircraft, and all of that. So the photos you're about to see are showing out ospreys. I have the question here, ospreys in lower Manhattan, and get ready for this show. And I'm not talking the bird, the hawk type thing. I'm talking these military aircraft. Now, what is an osprey? Well, There's a long history to this. I invite you to go look. I just pulled some excerpts off of the internet from howstuffworks.com. This is just for educational purposes. I'm not passing any judgments on these things. I'm just saying what we know and what's been provided for everybody in the public free information stream to have a look at. So I'm just saying a V-22 Osprey. This is what they say actually, and in the picture to the left, this is a caption. V-22 Osprey transitioning from helicopter to airplane mode. Okay, very interesting. So once again, this is considered a tilt rotor aircraft. It's not a helicopter nor a plane. And I am going to just read this real quick, the excerpts I took out verbatim. The image from the upper right actually comes from, I think it's a clip from the movie Godzilla, King of the Monsters, something like that. I did watch the movie. I did remember seeing this. And so often you just see these things in the movies, not really out and about in the real world. Well, my anonymous, very kind anonymous viewer who sent these photos in did say this is the first time they've ever seen this type of helicopter anywhere in Lower Manhattan. It was very surprising, very unexpected. And I'll show you what this craft ends up doing over the river in Lower Manhattan. It was hovering very low. Actually, there were a few of them, flying in low, hovering low. And it was not a part of any kind of movie set or scene. So we're going to get into it. But anyway, there's a history to the V-22 Osprey, and it says there are 3 configurations of the Osprey depending upon what it's being used for, such as search and rescue, medium-range assault, or long-range spec operations. While 3 branches of the U Armed Forces, the Marines, Navy, and Air Force will use the Osprey. Bell is also exploring its design for possible civilian uses. I guess a guy named Bell. Kind of question that name because we don't know they're famous. Alexander Graham Bell, right? The names are usually important when they do these things and tell us who invented what. I'm not always convinced it's actually the name or actually the person. Maybe it is. I'm a little skeptical on that, but that's a whole nother story. So anyway, someone's exploring this design for also possible civilian uses. All right, goes on to say that the major advantages of the Osprey over a helicopter are longer range. The Osprey can fly from 270 to 580 miles. Higher speed. The Osprey's top speed is 315 miles per hour or 507 kilometers per hour, which is twice as fast as a helicopter's top speed. Increased cargo capacity. The Osprey can carry 10,000 pounds or 4,536 kilograms of cargo or 24 troops. Another thing they mention is the advantage of the Osprey over an airplane is that it can take off, hover, and land like a helicopter. This makes, I think they have a typo here, this makes it more versatile than an airplane for such missions as moving troops to remote areas, especially those without landing strips or conducting long-range rescue operations at sea. So, Ospreys in Lower Manhattan, yes, they were seen by many, many witnesses on May 7th, 2023 in Lower Manhattan over the water. Okay, here we go. I'll give you the directional of which way this is looking in the description box below. I think I have it somewhere. Okay, so look at this view. Actually, excellent kudos to you, my dear anonymous viewer. Excellent photo, beautiful framing, how this is all taken. Good eye photography, obviously. You know, we have the boats coming this way. These are coming in this way, and we've got the Statue of Liberty, obviously, here. So right away, at first, when I received this photo, I was looking at it very small, you know, kind of on a smaller device like my phone and handheld device. And here, right away, I was seeing the straight edge at the bottom and a triangular shape. And right away, I knew there's a craft right in there. So actually, I was like, oh, okay, crafted right in there in the skies. I was also noticing how this is coming horizontal, if you follow my cursor. And then the other cloud, quote-unquote cloud, I suspect this is all cloak and craft and a little string, is pitching down at an angle. Now, again, as I've said time and time again, if you watched any of my previous shows, you know, natural clouds, organic clouds moving, you know, across in a, you know, presumable slight breeze or something, they're all going to be more or less moving across. None is going to start to decide to dive downward at an angle. That just goes against the physics of how the wind would move this kind of material, this water vapor across the sky. So right away, that's, you know, a given. Telltale sign something else is at play here, moving in different directions, different trajectories. That's not going in opposing trajectories is not going to be a natural cloud activity. There also seems to be something kind of blurred out in here, so I expect cloak and craft in there as well. Now, what was a really kind of eye-opener, there's an object here. It stays in that same place frame after frame after frame. And, you know, so it's not a bird. It's something attached to a bigger object. Again, we have a really straight line, So it's suspected craft. I'm just mentioning this all before I even start to do an enhancement. For anyone's new, by the way, thank you so much for being here, whether you're new or returning to this channel. I really appreciate all of you, each and every one of you. Thank you. I enhance things. If you're new to this channel, it just means I take the original photo. All I'm doing is upping or lowering the attributes of the photo, such as color, saturation, brightness, contrast. That's about it. I might toy with warmth or sharpness, rarely, but that's also something I might do. But otherwise, the whole photo is staying intact. I also might add a page number, or sometimes I put letters to or numbers to kind of highlight key areas that I'm going to go over. I haven't done that this time, just for ease on myself, and I have really been wanting to get this out for quite a while, for many days now. So I'm kind of atypically not showing all the detail that I normally do on a little header at the bottom. So anyway, or footer. So here we go. Okay, so I've noticed these things, and this did not move, so I know that's a fixed element attached to some type of cloaking craft. Also, I see two lines that are more or less parallel, slightly concentric. That's also not going to happen in natural cloud activity. So I'm already starting to see elements with structure. I know this is a cloaking craft. Then I look above, and do I need to say anything more? Look how different character of this is compared to everything else in the same proximity, the same more or less altitude, right? So absolutely, this is rigid structure. I've got absolute longest ones I've seen actually, parallel lines. And the more we get into this, the more fascinating it becomes. All right, so let's keep going. Here I'm going to do a progression. So normally I put original photo on one side, enhanced on the other. Just know that you're going to see the original, and then I'll keep progressing, from there. Okay, so here, original, we start to progress on the enhancement so that I can see these sharp lines and shadows. And then a little later on, we're going to see a lot more detail in here. It's a little fuzzy on this one, okay? We also see weird little things, weird movement that wouldn't normally happen in a cloud, normal clouds in the sky. If I use clouds in quotes or air quotes, that just means that's suspected cloaking craft. When I talk about cloaking material, like you see this kind of fuzz out, here and there. And especially when you see bigger swaths of that stuff going over suspected craft, I just refer to that as plasma, meaning something heavier and denser than just regular cloud water vapor material that tends to cling and conceal things very well, veil them in the sky, like a very, very heavy particulate. Okay? All right, so we're going to keep going with enhancement right after this one. Well, actually, we're going to take a little detour here. We're going to zoom in then on that big, long object that I was showing you, and it looks like possible windows, okay? It's definitely a cloaking object. It's got to be a ship. There's also a rectangular, pretty fairly defined rectangular piece here. And look how straight these edges are, shadows happening in there. We're talking an object. And no matter how much I do push the contrast and the brightness, this stays fixed. So I know that's absolutely a solid object. All right? Now, down here too, under this text, again, that's my straight line. That's the first thing that I thought, oh, we just have a craft there, before I saw this huge thing right above. It's very exciting. If I didn't communicate that yet, very exciting find with this. So again, thank you to Anonymous. And then here we go. We're going to look at what I'm saying are possible windows, because we've got a regular pattern here. We've got vertical breaks in it, kind of marching along in a rhythmical way. So it tells me we've got structure going on there. But we're going to go in and zoom in just to see if that's if what I'm suspecting is there is correct. So I'm zooming in even more. Now, if you have this on a laptop screen, it's going to look bitmappy. So if you squint your eyes, you can see it more clearly. If you're looking at this at a smaller scale, thumbnail size kind of device, and it's much smaller, you probably already see it with much more clarity. Now, I do always say this in every show, so bear with me if you're returning, that I am doing the narration of this and going through the show on a laptop screen. That means what I'm seeing is at a bigger scale than somebody with a handheld device watching this. That means that I might miss things that you can readily see on a smaller scale. And vice versa. I might be able to zoom into detail that you might not readily pick up on your smaller, handheld device, presumably. So just keep that in mind. If you happen to have the luxury of having two different size devices, screens, one's bigger, one's really small, you might want to play the show and run it on both devices at the same time and toggle your view between one and the other so that you can see, some of the differences. If there's something glaringly obvious and I don't point it out, That's not because I intended to conceal anything or anything. I just simply probably didn't see it because of the function of seeing again the big scale to the little scale. All right, that being said, let's keep going. So the more I look at this, there's a pure hole right here where my cursor's moving around. And then I thought these were windows, but now that I look at it, I see the end of a pipe. I see a vertical canister, like with an open hole here. And I think these are just like vertical cans, like, like if you held a can in your hand, or, a cylindrical glass. These are like pipe ends, but facing upward. Now, a lot of times when I see these openings, it just shows me that that is probably where the cloaking material is blowing out of to help conceal these things. It's a very mechanical function. And so I believe plasma and other kinds of veiling, material is blowing out of here to help hide this craft. Now, what is this craft? Is it military? Is it ET in origin? By ET, I do mean extraterrestrial. Is it some type of galactic beings that have made this? Or is it some kind of even interdimensional ITs, which would be from inner Earth? Or from the ones coming in from the ocean, also coming presumably from inner Earth. Is it a collaboration of military and ETs and galactics? I think it's all of the above, as I mentioned in a previous card reading that I released actually today. I also do spiritual card readings, so that was a topic that came up, actually a galactic heavy reading that came up, and it's labeled R, okay, show number R, show letter R. Anyway, get back to this. So we've got straight lines that are parallel all over the place. We're dealing with structure, all right? So here's what I was thinking. I'm going to show you some sketch overlays. So here's that hole, pipe ends or whatever. Squares maybe, I was first thinking we'd have squares marching along here with another hole. But the more I was looking at it, I don't think these are really squares. I think they're all pipes, as I mentioned, okay? So I'm just going to toggle back and forth a little bit, and you see what you see in this scene. I know we're zoomed in real tight. Actually, I'll show you. We're zoomed in, right where that arrow says possible windows. You can even start to see the hole here now that we know what's going on, the hole here. There are lots of little holes going on along here, too. So those might not all be to, shoot out cloud cover, camouflage cover for these things. Maybe some of those also are exhaust just for other things, or windows, who knows. But let's keep looking. I also see some structure happening in here, hiding in some plasma, but we'll keep going back to this. So once again, that's this area where my cursor is, and then I'll just show you one more time what I was thinking. But keep in mind, wherever I see a square now, those I think in reality are like canisters pointing upward with a hole at the top, like right here, okay? Anyway, as I always say, see what you see in this scene. Maybe you can find much more than what I'm seeing right now, okay? All right, here's that object again. I'm just going to call it a massive ship. And I suspect this one is as well, that goes to a point here. And again, some type of very rigid object is sticking, up. So it's attached to whatever that craft is. I think there are also multiple crafts hiding all over the place in here and in here as well. All right, so we're just taking in the overall scene. What are these osprey doing there, I never got any more information from the anonymous viewer if they saw anything else happening. I just got that they saw it hovering very low over the water. We're going to get to those images next. No, camera, film crew around, no sightseeing expedition. This was just military without, seeing anything coming up or down from them at the time the anonymous viewer was watching the scene unfold, okay? Anyway, going back up to this ship up here again, we see that straight line with shadows, straight line, parallel. Another more or less parallel line, something weird happening over in here. We've got structure, no question, hands down, structure. Do I need to point it out more? Yes, so I'm zooming in. Look at that straight line. It's got a little bit of a camber to it. It's a little curved, but for all intents and purposes, I'm just saying they're parallel, right? Now we start to see indentations, like if you had a cable dish or satellite dish, concave, I guess, moving along here along the side. It's catching the light a little bit more clearly. It's getting more interesting, this little story of ours here. We look up here, you still see those kind of like dishes, those indentations, like if you had a bowl in your hand and held it up to somebody, that's what we're looking at. All right, I'm going to keep moving along. Again, we see those notches, not notches, those, kind of looks like carved out, like these indentations, these little like inverted domes, right? And there's a little one here too. So they're all along the edge of this thing, absolutely showing intelligent design and engineering. Here's that dark object. So again, I think that's a hardened object just poking up out of some of the veiling material, the plasma material. And we'll keep going. Here's just, I'm going to toggle back and forth between these two. Look at that, we get a little sharper in on those circles right there, right? Okay, and again, I leave this up to all of you in your own time to take your time through this and go through each frame and see if you see anything. And if you do see anything pop out that's exciting that I missed covering, by all means, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, or send me an email if your comment is not posting due to YouTube's nonsensical censoring and shadow banning that they do from time to time. Okay, now this is more extreme enhancement, and we know that because I've boosted up the color saturation. And look at, we've got hardened objects, so wherever it's black or very dark, again, that's frame to frame, it's holding true, so that means that's objects. This one in this case is turning like a sienna or a burnt umber brown, just because it's a little farther off in the distance, and also it might have a different color signature because it's a different metal or material, or just by it being in a further away, and also maybe a different kind of particulate moving over it, okay? But here we got a little triangular form, that's still holding true. I know that's craft. There's craft over here, and also wherever these darker objects are behind this weird veiling, blotchy, milky kind of camouflaging, right? Now, as I've said in other shows, I don't believe the plasma is necessarily toxic. I believe when it's camouflaging, it's simply call it camouflage trails or camouflage veiling. It doesn't mean that it's toxic. Other things, like some of the trails we see in the sky, I think are absolutely have some toxic content, but still yet others might also just be veiling and non-toxic. I think we're dealing with a combination of all of it. It's not just A or B, it's like everything. Okay? Another object in here is visible. We see some dark pieces popping out. And here we go again, just looking at it, I'm going to toggle back and forth. We're going lighter to darker with the progression. That's still holding true. We see like two white spots with this vertical, divider. That might be windows of yet a different object here. So it gets very interesting. Then we're going to look at the Statue of Liberty in that scene. I invite you to go back, hop back, and see the original slide. At that glance, when it's a regular photo, it doesn't look like much is going on around the Statue of Liberty, but then we go up and do some enhancements, and there's a lot of energetic things happening around here. Actually, Sugar Seas, if you're listening, this is like a job for Sugar Seas, who works with frequencies, and it's like a really master at, detecting these things and breaking it down and seeing it and her way of doing it. I just was doing my enhancements and happened to notice, what the heck? We've got this weird, like, black, stuff happening around. That doesn't happen in my normal photos when I go in and do these enhancements. It's the first time I'm seeing this. Also, look at this pop of bright white, just happening around the torch, ironically, right? And then we look to the right, and I've made even more extreme enhancement. And look at this burst of energy coming around the torch area. What the heck is going on here? And again, by all means, if anyone has any grand ideas of what this could be, or even just want to guess, or make a wild guess for the fun of it, do so, because we've really got to get to what is going on with some of these things. All right, so here's that statue. Actually, I'm going to go back one. Okay, we're just looking at the statue. And just here, you don't see or notice anything going on. But, the more enhancements we do going progressively, let's see, the other way. And I don't think I do it here. But anyway, as we progress through, as you can see here, absolutely we see some weird stuff. More is going on than meets the eye, okay? All right, now we've got this view of the Osprey. I'm not sure which way it's flying at this point, but you can see where, there's people standing on the dock watching these things. They're very low, and there was no apparent reason for what they were doing, according to the anonymous viewer. So anyway, we look to the right. Let's look at the clouds a moment. So we got this one diving down on an angle. Again, that wouldn't happen if everything in the normal world is blowing normal cloud. Look how straight these edges are. We even see kind of a delta, or like a vector, or like a arrowhead, if you will, however you want to call that, shaped, craft in the background. This is the tip of that other one that we really looked at, where I thought they were windows, but they're really like vertical pipes. But here, we got a straight edge, straight lines here. Those are all craft, maybe a couple, maybe a few in there. And again, this is diving down. This is looking triangular in form. It goes to a point. Obviously this is like a cluster of cloak and craft happening. So let's see, we're going to get at what's going on with these things a little bit more. Here's some more enhancement. Look at that dark black. That's an object. We even start to see semicircles and circles. Here's a circle, here's a circle. So I know that's intelligent design. Absolutely a ship or a craft of some kind, cloaking. Another one back here, as we've been looking at. And we see darker ones in here, so we know there's more craft hiding in there as well. We're going to zoom in on this one over here to the left. And so here you go, we got round. These are perfect circles. They look like ends of tubes, you know, and with shadow going back into the side of whatever this thing is, right? And that dark thing, you can see where it gets green and broken up. That's the plasma or the cloaking material wafting over, yes, I say wafting, not wafting, over this craft. And there's more, you know, to it beyond in this much heavier veiling or particulate. You start to see also something kind of almost looks like the bow, like a boat shape, you know, rounded boat, like a speedboat. And something is going on in here, but I can't quite detect it just because there's so much veiling. And here's the osprey, obviously, traveling. All right, so I'm going to toggle back and forth. Look over here with me to the left, and that's where I see the holes, if you didn't see it with me, okay? More extreme enhancement reveals this is absolutely a solid object cloaking with the green, you know, cloaking material wafting over it. And I just say perfect holes, rigid geometry, dark areas, cloaking craft, light green is a cloaking material, aka plasma is what we'll go with for the name for it. We've got other darker objects holding true, and that's saying yes, there are cloaking objects back there. All right, here's another view. Now we've got two ospreys. We see the dock here, or a little pier and a boat. Okay, this craft, this huge ship is up here, pitching on a bit of an angle. There's that dark object again, it's holding true in every frame. We're getting a little more development on this triangular formed quote-unquote cloud. It's no cloud, it's artificial, it's a cloaking craft under there. We also start to see maybe a little ellipsoidal kind of, or pointed elliptical form hiding in here too a little bit better. I'm going to say it's cloaking craft, cloaking object, okay? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parallel, 6, 7, 8 things coming all the way up. That's all craft gliding together, you know. And then this one even might be one long craft this way. A lot is going on here, friends. Okay, then we're going to keep going with the progression of enhancement. You know, just to really pull these things out. We've got a pretty rectangular, again, perfect object here where I called those windows out. We see that even better over here to the right. And again, look at this. Perfect shapes happening in here. We keep going. And this is just kind of a repeat of that alternate cover slide, but just shows what I was looking at here. A lot of things going on up there. And then here's now, and we're switching views somewhere else, but this is all the same scene, just kind of panning around the same area where the viewer was. And we've got a weird, very artificial looking sun and artificial cloud cover happening over here as these regular helicopters are coming in. And that's something the anonymous viewer did say, that a couple of regular helicopters were accompanying these osprey. And the viewer didn't know at the time what the osprey were or anything. I just quickly looked it up, and again, a contact of mine helped me find what it was. All right, now, lots of weird things are happening with some of the coloration. But for now, I just want to point out, you know, the texture of the sky, that's no natural sky. A lot of weird stuff's happening right in here. And we get to this, I think, in another photo. It becomes clearer what's going on in there. And for now, we'll just look at these, you know, the two helicopters coming in, weird stuff happening around the quote-unquote sun, weird shape, weird coloration, everything. So here you can see that a little bit better. It's just pure white with like a golden halo around it. That's not acting like our original sun. Do look at my other shows where I talk about the solar simulator, patents pulled for it in the 60s and probably much earlier. So it's real tech that's, you know, kind of not commandeered, but totally blocked out our original sun beyond, and it glares up real huge to hide the golden original sun somewhere beyond it. And people all over the world have been proving this time and time again, just regular people like myself going out and making direct observations. So I think we can, you know, conclusively put that one to rest. Yes, we have a solar simulator, a white glare ball is what I call it. Anyway, that aside, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about these helicopters. Look at this. Look what that does when we put extreme enhancement. It just gives a weird signature on these things in white. Pointing that out because later when we look at the ospreys, a weird signature happens around in black. So it's very interesting to see what kinds of frequencies these two different aircraft are, you know, emitting. And I think that has to do with what kind of tech is on board the osprey. It's very telling of something very interesting. but that, we'll cover that maybe another time. Now, already looking down here in the lower left, we see the end of a pipe. If you cut a pipe, we're looking at the end of the cross section of it. It's either round or it's like a U shape, something like an open pipe, but along the ridge of it. But whatever the case, that's a pure circle. So I know that's tech. That's a craft cloaking in here. And again, we're going to get a different view where we're zoomed out a bit and you can see it much more clearly. But all of this, where you see this weird kind of texture stuff, that's yet a different kind of cloaking mechanism over multiple craft or a big craft, okay? All right, so now we have a different view, looking at the bridge, over the bridge, and then what caught my attention, here's those regular helicopters coming in. We got like weird blotchy things happening, and in here, very weird, they're partially formed. To me, I know better than by now, after observing the skies intently day and night for 4 years intently, even when I start to see fragments of things, usually that's how it starts, when a cloaking craft starts to reveal itself. And this might just be part of a bigger, craft overall, or these are individual craft, starting to appear. But, at first glance, people just think, maybe smoky remnants off of something, but there's nothing. This is over the water, and they would, a smoke trail would never just do this, so I'll tell you why. Here we go with some enhancement again. We get that weird whiteout signature around these objects. These helicopters, and I haven't seen that, and I've filmed or taken photos of helicopters low over where I'm at. They don't do that, so this is very interesting. Also now these cloaking objects back in here, the ones that really pop out are right here. Look at this. We're going to zoom in on these. Oh, and look, there's another helicopter back here, but that might be a tourist one. But the Nemesis was very clear. The Osprey are not typical. That person has never seen them and has been in New York for decades. Never seen that happen, okay? And that person is not a recluse. They're out and about, all over New York and hopping over the river and all of that. So haven't seen it. They haven't seen it. All right, so here we go. We're going to zoom in on this and look at this. This is a clear shape. Look at this curve and another curve coming back the other way. There's a little pipe end over here too, so that's clearly the little cloaking mechanism for this little thing, whatever it is. But look at that. That's pretty wild. I could see that this might be like the front of it, and that like a little being is like, slung in here, operating this thing, and then that's the back. But it could also just be the partial appearance of just a part of a bigger craft. Look how thick this particulate is. It's like really, really dense. I really appreciate these photos coming in from New York, because I have not yet looked at any of the New York skies and, done analysis on things. All right, so we're zooming in again. Here's where I'm saying I could almost see a little being, like if this is the back of like a, those video gamers have the big gaming chair. It's almost like that's the headrest, and there's a little being slouched in here. I swear I could almost see a face. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're out there watching this, you might want to zoom in right now, and I'm only seeing it just now. I see an oblong head with 2 eyes and a nose, and it's like somebody's just like slung in here like on a hammock, and maybe controlling this thing, and this is the front of this craft. I really do see that, and this would be the back. Let me know what you think, what you see. And again, I see pipe ends here shooting out the plasma and the cloaking material. It's pretty exciting. I didn't realize I zoomed in one more time, and I totally am seeing this elongated head with 2 eyes, symmetrical, and a nose. I don't think that's a case of pareidolia. I really do not. I do see these clear holes here. So anyway, see what else you see in that scene. Excuse me. All right, now, hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Just had to clear my voice. So now we're panning around somewhere else in the city. Anyone from New York are more familiar with it than me. I haven't been back in a very long time. Can tell me exactly where we're looking. I don't know right offhand, but we do know that the sky is looking pretty funky, pretty weird. So, and the sun as well. So we look over to the right. We're seeing a little more things emerging, with a little more detail. And now looking to the left, we see a pipe-like object, something with structure happening over here where my cursor is. What's going on around the sun? This is just crazy. Look to the right, we see even more with, exaggerated enhancement. We have an object, something's going on up here. Totally something going on all over the place, all over here, because we even have a red signature, kind of a ringing or circumference around, or like a U shape. What the heck is that? It tells me that's an object with a different color signature on its like heat source or, power source, whatever. See little holes here, just a lot of disturbed activity. Usually I call this staccato cloud in the area where I'm at, typically looking in the Miami skies. But this is it's taking it to a whole nother level. Again, I see holes, and like a pipe-like thing sticking out here. Actually, there's a stick coming out of here, a stick coming out of here, so I'm suspecting that this is a bigger craft right in here. I also have a cross-shaped thing over here. Anything coming across perpendicular, that's absolutely machined with intelligent design, you know. There's something happening over here. I'm going to say they're just craft all over the place in the scene. And then what's this dark black object all behind the supposed quote-unquote sun? What the heck is going on here? Okay, look at all of this. Nothing that black and dark should be back behind the quote-unquote sun. So we obviously have, I think, massive craft going on in here. We got actually regular design, you know, looks like on a flat plate, also like cloaking. Kind of see it here too, you know, like what do I want to say? Like, you know, circle, like a solid, you know, circle with an outline around it, you know, and a pattern marching along. And it does show up here too. So that's absolutely intelligent design happening on the surface of something. And so I'm going to say we got massive and multiple cloaking craft going on all over the place. You know, is that why we have those Osprey coming in, the military craft? Because there is a whole lot going on here. Hard to say. All right, here's even more extreme enhancement again. This can be interpreted in many ways. You know, are we dealing with like a rhombus or a diamond shape back in here? Or is this just really part of something bigger? I swear I see another face with like a arm and a hand holding a rod. I could just be seeing things. Or we really do have sky beings up there doing battle of some kind. This energy here is so chaotic. I have not seen this in any of the skies I've been looking at. Got to, you know, can't emphasize that enough. So to me, there's a lot of turbulence. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of battle going on up here, or things are getting ready to battle, is the mood that I feel in that photo. All right, now we're looking up just at the sky. You know, looks like nothing going on past this bridge, but yet there really is. I'm going to go back one. So keep your eyes over here. This is another example about how much particulate veiling stuff is in the skies so that we cannot see these cloaking craft and objects, right? But with the gift of this digital technology, again, I always call it a blessing and a curse. However, it can be very helpful when used and for good. And it really is great at cutting through the crap, cutting through the veiling, cutting through the particulate, and allowing us to see in a deeper way a greater photo and light sensitivity, right? So here we go. You know, we never would have seen this, right? Until we all get upgraded to get a full range of seeing, which I think is happening with some people on the planet, not me yet. But I think it's happening more and more as we move along in this great awakening, as we shift in collective consciousness to a higher, you know, consciousness. Anyway, here we go. So right away, we see this is coming to a point. We have a triangle in here. There's some type of cloaking triangular object, or it's part of a bigger one hiding behind all of this. We might just be seeing the tip of a ship coming out. And then back here, what the heck is this? Different color signature, stick-like elements coming off of it. So again, suspected cloaking craft happening beyond. Or this is one fin of a huge craft, and this is another one parallel to it on the other side. Anything's possible here. So here's with a different kind of enhancement to look at it in a different way, make it more monochromatic with the blues and the cyans. But again, undeniable triangular shape is happening in there. Then I'm taking all color out altogether, going to a grayscale, more or less. Just to really, again, emphasize we've got a point here, and that would not be a natural cloud, and it's a solid object. And something else is going on back here. Can't quite tell because of all of the veiling. All right, now we're going to a different scene, obviously. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Obviously, not just the anonymous viewer, but others are noting quite the spectacle. What's going on? Why is there a military aircraft known as the Osprey hovering over the water? Okay, and what is it doing? Is that just a function of the blades creating this kind of vapor? I don't know. I don't think so. Is something sucking up, or, you know, shooting down onto the water? You know, sucking up from the water to here? Look to the right. I don't know that the blades would really create that shape. I didn't investigate that before doing the show. Maybe you'd like to do that. And on your own time, check into things. You know, what kind of patterns are created by those blades. Whatever the case, we've got some kind of vapor trail coming up toward the craft. Now, I don't think, you know what, there could be a person. I'm looking now, that could be a person. I didn't zoom in on it. I might actually zoom in. We'll pay attention to that little speck. Maybe that is the person lowering down. But what are they doing? You know, it doesn't look like they're really rescuing anybody. There would be other boats right around there. And no boats were there and then moved out of the way. So it's all very odd. You know, why are there so many Osprey? If it were some kind of rescue mission, there would only be one. There would be multiples of them. That wouldn't be necessary. Anyway, let's keep looking. Oh, you know what? We do move in a little, but I can't tell if that's a person or if that's just some of the vegetation in the background, to be honest. Not sure. Anyway, here's what I'm getting at. Look at this weird energy signature coming around this craft. It's like black spotted, and it's not like that white burst around the regular, what would probably be more, I'm just going to say by comparison, analog type helicopters. I'm guessing there's tech on this thing that must be pretty advanced to create this kind of a field, you know, around, energetic field around this aircraft. Okay. Now again, this is our huge, you know, ship that we were seeing earlier with the quote-unquote windows. And now look at this big black one, this big black ship, or cloaking craft. We just see a little bit of plasma over it. They're not really trying hard to hide this one. But this is either one big long cloaking craft or multiples, you know, in a little chain, creating like a bigger form, trying to blend in as quote-unquote regular cloud, which it's not really doing a great job at. Because here we go, we're going to like look at it, see. We see it in a little more detail. It stays, holds true, you know, holds its black, solid character, even though I go through many generations of different levels of enhancement and brightening up on it. Here we start to see perfect circles once again. We got these straight lines. Here, look at over here, we got straight lines parallel, all in here. What's going on? Well, we know it's cloaking craft. I just don't know whose. Again, if it's ET, military, collaboration, hard to say. And then here there's another, you know, piece of craft or separate ship, and we see stuff kind of coming and going, or, you know, maybe something's being shot out of here, hard to say. More solid pieces and geometries. Look right here, we have a perfect triangular form with, it looks like a vapor trail coming down from it. And if you look back up at the very beginning at IndustrialSurrealism's the YouTube channel, Sean's analysis and kind of breakdown on that chart, this is one of the craft appearing on that chart. And again, we see this weird bitmappy grid-like thing just around the craft itself. So this thing is emanating some kind of energy. I don't like it. I'm not getting a good vibe off of it. The regular helicopters, the white burst around it, I didn't mind so much. This is just not giving me a rosy feeling. So see what you see or feel off of this photo. Again, where we had that triangular suspected craft, here it is. We're seeing it a little bit better. Pop up out of that quote-unquote cloud. The one diving on an angle looks like it has an object in here as well. All right, we're going to keep going. But right here in the center, this is what's very curious. This looks like long pipes. You know, are those craft in and of themselves, or one big craft? Or are we talking these are like cannons, you know, just really long shafts to as weaponry? You be the judge. But they're massive. This is massive. Okay. Oh, now this, let me orient where we're going. Oh, okay. This is going to be a little bit blurry, but I'm zooming way in on this over here. And look at, we have two pipes that are right next to each other, parallel, coming off of this thing. So is this a weaponized triangular craft, or do those just shoot out the plasma or cloaking material? Hard to say. We're going to zoom in on that. So keep your eye on the end of this like signpost or whatever that is on the dock in relative to this triangle, because we're zooming in. Here we go. Here's that post on the dock. Now here's this triangular form, goes up to a point, straight line, straight line, straight line. Other stuff happening here. There's probably some other type of cloaking craft coming in or out of cloak state. There's a long pipe, you know, or straight piece here coming in perpendicular to this triangular form. And look now, those two pipes I was talking about, they absolutely look like little cannon ends, like off of a tank. And here too, again, two parallels. What the heck are we dealing with here? See what you see. Also, we've got perfect curve that looks like a hole. So it's kind of like a fender effect, you know, around this kind of pipe opening. So we've got another pipe opening facing downward here. We have intelligent design all over the place in this scene. Okay, here's that weird looking long, lumpy like cloud, which I know is cloaking craft in here. You know, just looking at it, zooming in, you know, this piece once again, straight line. Couldn't be any straighter. And again, these parallel like tubes. So very fascinating story going on here. And now we have like another little craft. This looks like the front of it and, you know, the back of it here, you know, maybe leaving a little trail. Zooming in, there's that, what I'm calling that craft again. To me, it's pretty clear. Looks like a little spoiler off the back, you know. Straight line, straight line, straight line, straight, straight, more or less straight. Parallel, 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 all the way up. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, it goes on and on. Totally dealing with cloaking craft. Got some detail on this edge too. That looks like intelligent design as well. All right, here's a close-up on that osprey. Look at this thing. Why are we getting this weird I don't know. I don't even want to say electromagnetic field because it looks very artificial, even for that. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe someone out there knows what kind of power or energy source is generating that kind of really bizarre-looking field, you know. Once again, that triangular form above. This is the vapor, you know, water vapor coming down to the water. So now that I'm looking at it, I do think that is a figure. I think they're lowering, it looks like, a body, a person, maybe down into the water. But again, no visible signs of if there's a really big problem there with a person that needed help. You would have seen lots of little boats, you know, making a circle around the area. And again, that didn't happen. What are they doing? Why are they maybe lowering this person down? Maybe they're pulling them up, hard to say. But my anonymous viewer did not see anything, you know, coming up out of the water, so I assume this is maybe dropping somebody down. What are they looking for? Why are they doing that? Why is it military? Oh yeah, here we go. That does look like a body, doesn't it? So I think they're lowering somebody down on a cable, aircraft cable, whatever it is they use, into the water. But again, why? What's down there? What's going on? Why several of these things are needed, right? Here we go. Yeah, that's looking like a body. So we've got the head up here, an arm, and the feet this way. So once again, though, it gets like to be a weird little shape. Are they lowering it down into the water? And is it a person? Or is it some other kind of humanoid? Or some other package, so to speak, weaponry? I don't know. They're lowering down in there. Or is it coming back up? I just really do get the sense that it's dangling and going down. See what you think, though. Look at this. This is so crazy. This is like one of those things that they say, what is it called? The QR scan code thing, which I will never use. It looks like that, you know. It's very, very strange. Okay, now we're looking, okay, this gets exciting. So this is kind of looking in the direction, I think, where we had that really chaotic sky, I think was happening over here. I'm just guessing, though. But here we start to see, what are these? These are like rings, you know, that stands out. What's going on? And then we're going to see weird stuff happening over here. But again, you can't really tell to the naked eye unless you're wearing certain kinds of sunglasses or doing this. Look at this. What the heck? Look at that. Those are no natural clouds. And what's going on? What's all this darkness happening beyond all of this heavy veiling? Well, let's check. And why are we getting a burst of light around this building, right? Here you see that big rays coming out from the back here, you know, off that building. So is that happening down where the sun was that we were looking at? What's going on? That's pretty powerful of a burst. Then we've got this clear craft here. Look at this. We've got symmetrical things happening on either side. Look at this, comes down to a point. That's cloaking craft. Here as well. You can see it very clearly now. Cloaking craft over here. Anywhere it's dark. Look at this little skinny thing. Those are cloaking craft. I'm not sure if these are natural or if these are objects belonging to another craft. That's up for debate. I didn't really focus on those. But we do see that that's not natural cloud. Okay. We also got that weird bitmappy thing going on again. This looks like a hole. You know, this is plasma coming over this thing, the cloaking material. Weird object happening over here, you know. Very, very strange. But absolutely cloaking craft and objects. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, hopefully you have more answers than I could provide. I know sometimes I give more questions than answers, but it's great to look at this stuff, get all of our minds out there looking at it. Maybe people have some good ideas or other experiences that can help shed more light on what we were just looking at and why we have ospreys, you know, military aircraft hanging over there in New York when it normally doesn't. This is just a photo of one of my card readings. At the end of it, gives you a little idea, you know, of what might pop up in some of my readings. So it may not be your thing. That's no worries there. If it is, though, feel free to go have a look at some of my spiritual card readings. I just connect in for the collective, you know, whatever comes to mind. Basically, they're intuitive readings. and there might be a color, word, or phrase in there, a number that just helps serve as an affirmation or something good in your life, helps uplift you or expand your wisdom and knowledge further, or, just as food for thought, or just for fun. I invite you to go over there. I do distinguish those readings by letter of the alphabet, opposed to the numbers that are for the longer sky shows. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it all, and thanks for connecting in here a while with me. As always, I wish you all the best, tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.